What's up guys, back with another video. And in this video I'll be making a lot more videos since I have a lot more time. I don't know what to do, but I have to go back on YouTube because I miss all of you, right? Yeah, so the whole time I've been studying, I have research paper to do, and now my business level is now it's time to get to the finals, for finals, all this stuff, but that's not gonna happen until maybe 2 more weeks, I say. So I gotta make more video for you guys, right? So, sorry, I have to move to another corner. It's because I have to charge my GoPro. My GoPro is dead out of battery. Sorry about that, man. But hopefully it doesn't turn off because I'm charging. It kind of hurts the battery. Like GoPro doesn't work when you charge it. So I'm charging it right now, and I do not want this camera to die on me, right? Sorry, I'm a little unprepared, but gotta make this video. I have to talk about, one specific thing, about the NBA, right? Yeah, so you know that the NBA of 2019 and 2020 has been extremely crazy, right? And then, as a result, we're just into 1 month of the season and things drastically change. It's not the same as last year. You've seen the biggest change ever in your life, right? And also I share you some surprise. I share you some, very bad news, and I'm just gonna go over in summary. It's basically last year, a lots of team allowing I don't know 110 points, right? Yeah, because they shoot a lot of three stuff. I don't, yeah, I do watch every single game, but I just look at the score. I just don't look at the statistic or watch the game. Well, there's lots of change, from downside, but man, there's just a lot of team that gets better, right? A lot of team got stronger, and some few teams, get weaker. Some team, get stay the same, and all that sorts of stuff. And the standing has been looking so much different, but we cannot tell who's the worst team or who's the best team because we have to wait till mid season, January or February, or the end of December, sorry there, excuse me, to find out who's the top team and who is the mediocre team or worst team, right? So just from looking at the start of the game, and I'm just gonna make a quick summary. So the LA, Clippers, they've been doing, pretty decent job ever since they got Kawhi Leonard. They have this squad. There's just so much low management, all that stuff, and yeah, for the New Orleans Pelicans, they're not winning that much game. They have Zion Williams, but I don't think this dude's playing, man. He's not because of injury. That sucks for the Pelicans, right? And then the Lakers are on the roll, man. They're just beating up teams. They're like the new Golden State Warriors. They beat up teams, crushing them and finding them trapped. Especially against the Chicago Bull. This team was trapped and all that stuff, and they somehow came back, right? I mean, yeah, I do pay attention to what's going on in the NBA, just to be honest, right? I just have to make some summary here on there. I just have to look back to see what else do I need to say, and and the 76er was undefeated, but now they're kind of struggling here on there, and the Heats are so well, and I think that I gotta look at NBA statistics to see some most of the teams have problem with defense. Some team even allow more than 120 points per game. You know how James Harden is, right? James Harden is the scoring leader right now. Yeah, because he gets to the free throw line a lot. This is why people hate this dude. I don't hate this dude. I don't really care. I'm just summarizing. I don't hate any players. I don't hate any teams, to be honest. So I'm just looking at statistic right now. Sorry, but I'm looking at any statistic, as a team. come on. Okay, here we are. So as of right now, the least amount of point allowed per game. No, that's a points per game. I'm talking about allowed per game. So the most point that has ever been scored by a team is the Milwaukee Bucks. They drop 122 points per game so far, and Orlando Magic. This team just surprised me. Like, they have problem with their offense, man. They only put up 95 points per night. Like, this is a problem in the New York Knicks. The Orlando Magic, you know, this team surprised me for some reason. I thought this team's gonna make it to the playoff once again, but I seriously don't know what's wrong with this team. They could not get over 100 points per game. Like, something is wrong with this team. Everybody else is like the average league is scoring like at least 111 points, and you only put up like 95. So, bro, man, that's a problem right there. You cannot be a playoff team if you only put up 95 points as of right now, because most teams will just win you and you're just going to be at the bottom at the seed again. Orlando Magic is going to be the worst team, you know, once again, right? And then that's not good, right? So who has the, you know, the highest, you know, like, less allowing points, you know, per game is the, I think when I look at opponent, it's called the Utah Jazz. Yeah, but Orlando Magic is also, you know, didn't like get blown because they're allowing, you know, less point per game. Just weaker offense, you know, that means like tougher, you know, defense. That's what they trade for, right? Yeah, so when I look at opponent, you know, team statistic, the Utah Jazz is only allowing, you know, 96 points per game, and the Orlando Magic allow 99, and Denver Nuggets are 100 point, just on the margin of 100 point, right? And the weakest, and the Golden State Warriors, the Houston Rockets, and the New Orleans Pelicans, you know, the reason why these teams are not winning like very much games is because they're allowing too many points per game. Obviously, this is what kills them, right? And the Brooklyn Nets, right? 4 teams are allowing 120 plus points, so they got like a defense major issue, right? So yeah, so wasn't there like a blowout in NBA? I mean, there was like a couple big, like gigantic blowouts, right? I mean, that surprised me. Like, the Heat are underrated this year. Don't you forget this team has Jimmy Butler. Like, this dude can do damage, right? He's like an all-star. Yeah, I mean, I see like one night, you know, where Heat played against the Houston Rockets. You know, they were down, you know, like 40, you know, in just 15 minutes. It's like ridiculous. I'm like, seriously, man. Rockets has trouble with the defense, right? And then, you know, one night they play against, you know, the Rocket versus the Wizard night, and both of these teams almost score 160 points without overtime. Without overtime, man. Like, people say, what TF, right? WTF. I'm like, Jesus, man, like, that is a serious problem. Like, you score like 150 points and you still win or lose. The Rockets only win by 1, and they score 159 points against, you know, the Wizard 158 points. And also, you know, like, yeah, you know, the Hornet, you know, owned by, you know, like Michael Jordan and stuff. Like, he used to be the best player, you know, in the NBA, you know, as a player, but now he's owning, you know, a team that has a really bad record. So, yep. And last but not least, guess who's the biggest surprise of the NBA? Well, I know it's too early to tell, but I'm talking to you right now, and you need to go see it for yourself, even though you don't watch it. If you've been watching NBA news and all that stuff, like, you should know who's the biggest surprise. I'm about to say in this video is the Phoenix Suns. Like, I thought that this team is gonna be like, you know, the bottom team. I thought this team's gonna be like the Knicks again and gonna be the Cavalier, but none of this is happening. Like, you look how well they do in the preseason, right? Oh, when you look at preseason, you thought like the Suns are gonna be crappy once again, or they just had preseason. That's why they, play so well. But this team is like shocking everybody, and this team might make it to the playoff. Because when I look at the NBA prediction, like they have a 50%, chance of making the playoff, which is kind of high and which is kind of iffy, right? Because they could change to be the worst team again, right? Even though they had, I mean, the Phoenix Suns could have easily won, it's like 7-0, right? I mean, they didn't have DeAndre Ayton because DeAndre Ayton was suspended for 25 games, because I think because he had like some drug issue or something. Yeah, yeah, so, wow, I didn't know they can get suspended that long, but I guess it's a serious issue. I mean, if DeAndre Ayton come back, man, the Suns are gonna be like dominating. I mean, let's talk about the Phoenix Suns, right? Yeah, so this is what's going on in the NBA world. Like, when I talk about the Phoenix Suns, like everybody like say that, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like, how did the Phoenix Suns drop from the worst team of the sea? Can they make it the playoff with it in like 1 year? This team does not even have 20 wins last season, to be honest, right? And they're just like beating up teams. Like, they've been winning, and this team is not the laughing stock of the NBA anymore. Like, if you want to beat the Phoenix Suns in the NBA, you're facing no more easy wins. No more, man. You're being this team. Like, this is not an easy team anymore. Because last year, everybody was just laughing, making fun of this team, and Phoenix Suns was just like an easy, cakewalk thing, right? But now, this team is not a joke anymore. This team is not even a mediocre team, but this team may, like be a playoff contender, right? And they might not even want to tank this year, right? So they know they can find a playoff spot. If they were in the Eastern Conference, for sure they can make it to the playoff, the way they're playing right now. And if they can do in the West, that would be amazing. So I don't know what's like with the Phoenix Suns thing, man. The Phoenix Sun. Alright, so why do the Phoenix Suns play so well? So for the last, 8, so the current record is 5-3 right now, Every single game they play well against, except for, yesterday game against the Miami Heat. I mean, finally they have a blowout, right? Finally, they lost, in double digit. Like, no, only just one game they just lost by like double digit. Every other game they don't lose like more than double digit, right? Yeah, and they lost like 16 points against, Miami Heat, yesterday, right? So before the Miami Heat game happened, this team could have won easily 7-0, and I'll explain you why, right? So the Suns are pretty good. Like, when I look at the Suns schedule, they blew out the Kings, they beat the LA Clippers, they beat the struggling Warriors, and they just beat the undefeated 76er. That tells you how much of a firepower this team is, right? And it's a team that you would not want to mess with if you're playing against them, right? Or if you're trying to like make your team, want to beat them, right? Yeah, and before the Miami Heat loss, the two loss, were against, Denver Nuggets and the Jazz, and one of them went to overtime. So, and they only lose by like, differential of like 1 point each game. So, and the Jazz and the Nuggets are pretty much no joke. Like, this team is like very good. The Jazz are not a joke this year, and so is the Nuggets. Right? So that explains you a lot, like how good the Phoenix Suns are, right? I mean, yeah, and then and then we have to go against the Golden State Warrior, biggest biggest surprise of the year. We thought that the Warriors, when they lose Kevin Durant, they lose like all the veteran player. I mean, they still have like Steph Curry and D'Angelo Russell. Like, I thought that this team and Draymond Green. We thought that this team has enough force just to like enough firepower just to make the playoff, but this team is not gonna make the playoff. Yeah, I saw that Steph Curry, like injure his hand, when he played against Phoenix Suns. Like I don't know, this big dude, like Baines or something, like drop on him and like crush his hand, and he'll be out for 3 months. I'm like, this season's over, man. Like by the time Steph or Klay Thomas come back, I don't know if they're gonna make the playoff or not, but unlikely not. I think they go on a tanking season, but D'Angelo Russell is not gonna carry this team. Like this team is so dysfunctional, right? The Golden State Warriors are not gonna make it to the playoff, or might not. Not unless something crazy happened. But I know it's a little too early, but sorry to say this, man, but a lot of people saying that this team is just not gonna make it to the playoff. I'm looking at their past schedule and they're losing like crazy, man. They're losing like 30 balls, 20 balls, and even like they just keep losing like right and left like a lot, like more than 10 points, majority of the time. So they get blown out by the Clippers and allowing them to score 141 points. I'm like, Jesus Christ, man. Yeah, and the Warriors are allowing over 120 points per game, so if you're allowing 120 points per game, that's a serious issue right there. And and they get clobbered by the Thunder by 20 points, and they were down like 42 points at one point, and they only scored like 37 points at the half, which was scored by Klay Thompson, 37 points in the quarter, just a few years ago, and they only won the Pelicans and Trailblazers so far, right? And they even lose to the Hornet, and they lose to the Suns and San Antonio Spurs struggling on the road, and of course they lose to the Houston Rocket, right? Yeah, Warriors just they lost all their good players, and now all they have is just their bench, right? All they have is just their bench, and they pretty much cannot do anything. They're just definitely on the rebuild mode, and they're gonna miss the playoff this year. Like they just like keep losing games so frequently, right? It's just many people, like say that the Suns and the Warriors, trade their spot. The Sun became the best and the Warriors became the worst. The Warriors are just like having so much struggling. I remember like this team, like everybody hates the Golden State Warriors because they were the one that ruled the NBA, but then ever since the dynasty is over, then every team is just torturing the Golden State Warrior. Like the Warriors just being tortured like every single game. I'm like, wow, man. And this is not the Thunder like the Warriors play against. There's no KD, there is no Westbrook, no James Harden. They play against the rebuilding, like Thunder, and they're down by 40. I'm like, holy macaroni. I'm like, damn. Wow, so yeah, that's not usual, right? I mean, yeah, when you play against, a G League team, you expect, be even blown out by this much, right? Warriors on G League, they're still professional, and they're still doing pretty good, after, they beat the Trailblazers, right? I expect the Trailblazers to beat the Warriors, but they beat the Trailblazers. And Portland Trailblazers are, struggling. So is the Minnesota Timberwolves. Timberwolves, just, yeah, and the San Antonio, they're doing pretty good, but got a feeling, according to the prediction, they're not making playoff. Yeah, I know their weakness. They cannot play on the road. They get, beat up by a lot of teams on the road, so that's how the San Antonio Spurs are, right? So do you think the Suns can be in the playoff? Well, I say that, majority of the game, is right now at home. And they don't play a lot of like road games right now. So the schedules are like a little, weird this year, right? Yeah, and the Dallas Mavericks, like so many like teams just out of nowhere just pop up and play well, right? And the Toronto Raptors are still doing pretty good, without Kawhi Leonard, Danny Green, and I'm surprised that the Hornets are number 6. I thought that's supposed to be the bomb seed, but yeah, I know it's a little too early, right? The Hornets are doing pretty good, yeah, because they probably beat some easy team like the Golden State Warrior. And yeah, they beat the Pacers. I mean, and they beat the Kings. Yeah, they have a couple of easy teams that the Hornets are facing. I mean, that's why they're in the 60 right now. But when time move on, they're gonna drop like boom at the bottom of the sea, right? You know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah, and that's pretty much all I have to say for this video. So please hit the like button if you like me talk about more about NBAs and all that stuff. But it's all good. I have got to go, and bye bye.